Virgin Most Powerful Radio, sharing the gospel with clarity and charity.
I'm a soldier for Christ. I'm a soldier for Christ. I'm a soldier. No, they'll never take us under, because we're bringing truth like thunder. Raining on your speakers like a ton of bricks. Hold the cross high, cause we're Catholics. Fight the good fight with the truth. Stand tall with the truth. I'm a warrior for Christ. I'm in love with the truth. Love God, save souls, slay error. Go stronger. Go stronger.
That's exactly why this program exists.
That's right.
Teach people to love God.
Yep.
Save souls.
Yep.
And slay error.
You got it.
I'm reporting for duty. My name is Jesse Romero. Terry, are you on duty?
I'm reporting for duty. I'm Terry Barber, and boy, do we have a great show. You know, I want to ask St. Lawrence, the deacon, to pray for us, who's a martyr. Wait till you hear his story. It's a beauty. Also, Jesse, we're going to be talking about why this FDA is delaying the hydrochloroquine for outpatients approval. It's been delaying, and it's costing lives. We're also going to talk about Facebook, Google, YouTube, Twitter, all these, all these social medias that are huge, and they're suppressing some doctors who are trying to save lives. Again, saving lives. Also, we're going to talk about, will Catholics return to Mass after COVID-19? And I've got some strong opinions on that, but Jess, so much more. But before we go to the gospel, I want to remind everybody, we had Bishop Lopes from the Anglican Ordinariate here at our chapel for confirmations of kids. We had several baptisms on the weekend. I got to tell you, Sacred Heart Chapel is being used by several different groups of Catholic rites, and they're busy, very busy. We're not, we're actually busier than we were when COVID-19 wasn't around. And I'll tell you why, Jesse, because people want the sacraments, and we're given that here at the chapel. But Jesse, before we get to St. Lawrence, let's get to the gospel,
salvation.
Brother. Yeah,
the sacraments are salvation, Terry.
Exactly,
Good job, buddy.
And that's what we're doing, Jess.
That's salvation.
You know what I feel like, brother? I feel like I'm an administrator of a parish, because I'm getting people, hey, we want to get our baby baptized. We want to have a wedding. Hey, we want to have confessions. And all day long, man, people are coming. I want to visit Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. People are coming all in the times of the morning, 2 a.m. I got men coming in at 2, texting me saying, all is clear, sir. We did my holy hour, and we just checked the property. So, and I got men doing that today. Wow. Why? Because they love Jesus Christ and the Eucharist. Praise God. But let's get to the gospel for this special day of the martyr, St. Lawrence, deacon and martyr, for the gospel.
Yes, Gospel of John, chapter 12, verse 24 and following. Speak, Lord, your servants are listening. Jesus said to his disciples, Amen, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains just a grain of wheat. But if it dies, it produces much fruit. Whoever loves his life loses it, and whoever hates his life in this world will preserve it for eternal life. Whoever serves me must follow me, and where I am, there also will my servant be. The Father will honor whoever serves me. The gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Our Lord Jesus Christ gave this small little dissertation right after verse 23 when he talks about that his hour has come. Right. In other words, this is the decisive turning point in the gospel, Jesus' hour. It's finally arrived. What does that mean? While this sets into motion the forthcoming ministry of incredible suffering, where Jesus is going to secure blessings through his sufferings, not only for Israel, but for the whole world. And there's 2 verses that jump out at me here, Terry. Mm-hmm. Right? Number 1, it says, whoever loses his life.
That's where it is, yep.
And whoever loves his life loses it.
Yep.
And whoever hates his life in this world will preserve it for eternal life. Terry, a lot of people, Catholics included, the One True Church of Jesus Christ, they seem to love their life more than Jesus. They're saying, put on a mask,
wash your hands,
put on a shield, wash your hands, stay 6 feet away from me. They're afraid to die. They've lost their supernatural faith. They're acting like carnal men, as St. Paul calls them, natural men, men who have just a natural faith. For them, the government is the magisterium, the CDC, the WHO.
Yeah.
And so, as a Catholic, I understand. What does this mean? You know what it means? It means that our Lord Jesus Christ and his promises is more important than anything that the government can tell you. The promises of Jesus Christ far exceed any judicial or governmental fiat. And we shouldn't be afraid to live and die for Jesus, as we're going to hear about in St. Lawrence in a few minutes. Second verse that jumps out at me,
Tell me.
the Father will honor whoever serves me. You have to ask yourself a question. Are you serving God the Father? And if you are, then God will honor you. If you're serving the government, if you're serving basically this fallen world, you know, being a Karen or a Kevin out there yelling at people, put on your mask, put on your shield, put on your gloves, don't touch me, stay 6 feet. Are you serving the world? If you are, you need to listen to what our Lord says. Whoever serves the Father will honor those who serve me. Last point I'll make is this. For those people that say, we worship the same God as Islam, that last verse of today's gospel categorically denies it. It says, the Father will honor those who serve me. Islam does not serve the Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, since they don't serve the Lord Jesus Christ, God the Father doesn't honor them. It's very clear. Terry.
Yeah, see, I just have one comment to make, and that is, I want to live my Catholic faith serving my brothers and sisters, okay? That's how I want to live my Catholic faith. I would rather do that than preserve my life a few years by hiding under the bed and not coming out and serving God's people. You know, Jess, I've been visiting friends who have COVID-19, okay? And I do all the precautions. I'm not saying I go in there and give them a big hug.
Right.
But you know what I do, Jess? I go and visit them. And you know what they do, Jesse, when they see me? They start weeping. They say, Terry, you're the only one of my friends who've come to see me. Okay? And now I'm not bragging. I'm just saying people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And this COVID-19 is making people run scared when really what's more important, our faith or preserving my health? And I just think that priority that you just mentioned, we're out of line. We're too much worried about our physical health and not our spiritual health. So it's time to say, you know what? I'm going to visit the Blessed Sacrament. I'm going to make reparation. I'm going to receive Holy Communion as often as possible. I'm going to continue my prayer life. I'm not going to let some fear of a virus stop me from worshiping my God or serving God's people.
That's it. Terry, I want to talk about St. Vincent of Lawrence.
Yeah.
St. Lawrence of
St.
Brindisi,
Lawrence,
excuse
right.
me. Yeah. Pray for us.
Amen.
Yeah. St. Lawrence was one of the Roman Church's
Early.
7 deacons,
Yeah.
according to tradition,
That's right.
who was personally responsible for the cure of the city's poor. And when the Roman clergy was rooted out and killed under the Emperor Valerian in the year 258, Deacon Lawrence saw his beloved Pope Sixtus II hauled off to martyrdom. And tradition says that Lawrence at once liquidated the church's possessions
Yes.
and dispersed them to the poor.
Yeah.
When the prefect of Rome heard this, he demanded that Lawrence turn over the money. 3 days later, Lawrence brought him the church's treasure, the destitute, which were the destitute, the orphans, the blind, and the
love
lame.
it.
And for this, St. Lawrence was roasted on a gridiron. Here's what Pope Leo the Great says actually happened to him.
This is
He
great.
says, when they first attempted to burn him, nothing happened. Worse followed. He ordered the limbs mangled and torn with the many cuts of lashes. They ordered Lawrence to be burned over a fire on an iron grate, which by now, from the steady heat, had its own ability to burn. This way, as his limbs were being turned over and over, he might be tortured more fiercely and the punishment might be drawn out. You gain nothing, St. Lawrence. You accomplish nothing, O cruel savagery. The mortal body is removed from your schemes, and Lawrence escapes you as he goes to heaven. The flame of love for Christ cannot be overcome by your flame, and that fire was less effective which burned on the outside than the one which burned within me. You, O persecutor, help the martyr in being harsh. You increase his victory when you added to his punishment. What did your skill not invent for the glory of the victory, even when the instruments of tortures were transformed into the honor of his triumph? And Pope Leo the Great says at the very end, he says this: all those who wish to live devoutly in Christ suffer persecution, but we are strengthened by the spirit of love and fortified to overcome all temptations by the perseverance of a steady faith like St. Lawrence, through our Lord Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with the Father forever and ever. Amen. Terry?
Jesse, I just have to say, St. Lawrence, pray for us right now, because when you were on that grill, I read the book on your life. They said that when it was time for them, you were dying, but you said to them, hey, I'm done on this side. Turn me on the other side. Jesse, I hope I have that sense of destiny that he had, because can you imagine what he would say today about COVID-19? Do you think he'd run under the bed and hide? No. See, this is why I want to mimic the saints. I don't want to mimic certain people in our church who are saying, oh, wash your hands. Oh, do this, do that. I want them to tell me how I can fall in love with Jesus Christ and his bride, the church, and I want to have that relationship with Jesus so that I have no fear over death. Jesse, when we come back, I'm going to get Sheen in, but we're also going to talk about Facebook, Google, YouTube, Twitter, censoring a viral video. Hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people have seen this, and Google said, no, we can't get this out. What is going on? Is someone trying to keep information from us? Absolutely. We're going to talk about that and much more to help you understand what we're up against. It's a spiritual warfare, issue. It really is, because it's about souls being saved. On Virgin Most Powerful, that's why we started Virgin Most Powerful, to help souls get to heaven. You're listening to the Terry and Jesse Show. Want to thank everybody for all your support here at Virgin Most Powerful. You want to become a monthly donor? Join us. For $25 a month, you get all kinds of St. Joe communication material sent to you via email and downloads. All you got to do is call 877-526-2151 or go online to the virginmostpowerfulradio.org. We'll be back with much more of the Terry and Jesse Show. Help the Helpless, a Minnesota St. Paul nonprofit organization chaired by Father of Tear and volunteers, is humbly asking you for your kind support to help the poor and the handicapped children in India and Ecuador. Through financial support from the Help of the Helpless benefactors, the children are provided with clothing, food, education, shelter, and the teachings of the Catholic Church. The mission is to help children thrive and become self-sufficient young adults leading productive lives. We also provide aid to poor families in Ecuador with food baskets, medicines, medical assistance, and help with funeral needs for the deceased. The work in India is done by Father Antonio's organization, St. Mary's. In Ecuador, the work is being done by the Servant Sisters of the Home of Mother. You can call us at 877-762-8857. To learn more, please visit our website, www.helpthehelpless.org. God bless you. This is Terry Barber. I want to thank you for supporting Virgin Most Powerful Radio. And here's an easy way to support us by going to smile.amazon.com and type in Catholic Resource Center or Virgin Most Powerful Radio. And when you log in your Amazon account and you purchase products, a portion of it will go right back in supporting Virgin Most Powerful Radio. And it doesn't cost you a dime. I want to thank you ahead of time because that supports us year-round. May God bless you and your family. This is Terry Barber. I want to thank you for your support here at Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Here's an easy way to do it. If you're going to sell or buy a house, call Real Estate for Life, 877-543-3871, because they're going to get you a Christ-centered agent to purchase your home or to sell your home. And at the close of escrow, a portion of his commission goes right back to Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Call 877-543-3871. Thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back to the Terry and Jesse Show. To join the conversation, call 888-526-2151. 2151. Now, here's Terry and Jesse.
Why is the FDA delaying on hydroxychloroquine outpatient approval, and they're causing many deaths every single day? Yep, 20,000 more Americans
Great question.
have died, while the FDA has delayed since July 1st a new emergency use approval for outpatient use of hydroxychloroquine, or HCQ, for COVID-19.
Right.
On July 1st, Henry Ford Hospital physicians and researchers in Detroit filed an urgent request to FDA Commissioner Dr. Stephen Hahn, who's obviously in the pocket of the left, as you'll see. Dr. Stephen Hahn, no relation to Scott Hahn, they requested for a new outpatient emergency use authorization for FDA approval of HCQ, hydroxychloroquine, to be used in the early treatment of COVID-19. Well, guess what? Baylor Scott and White Heart and Vascular Institute in Dallas, they've also issued an urgent appeal supporting the Henry Ford EUA application based on their clinical study of the use of hydroxychloroquine in their own medical workers. And Baylor's cardiologists have emphasized that there were no adverse cardiac outcomes in their own or the Ford study. Henry Ford's study is a new clinical trial found that an impressive 51% reduction in deaths if hydroxychloroquine was begun within 24 hours of admission to the hospital. And an outpatient primary care study by Dr. Vladimir Zelenko using hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin and zinc given within less than 7 days of COVID-19 symptoms showed approximately 80% decrease in deaths, and less than 1% of his patients needed to be admitted to a hospital. These U.S. early intervention studies, the extraordinary results, show how many lives can be saved with early hydroxychloroquine treatment. And if the FDA had acted quickly on the Henry Ford study and the Baylor study and approved the request for hydroxychloroquine, we can reasonably consider that 16,000 lives could have been saved since July 1st. But no, Terry, this is being politicized, and the left is using Dr. Stephen Hahn. He's using him, who's basically the commissioner for the FDA. The left has weaponized the FDA against us right now, Terry, and people are dying.
And Jesse, what blows me away is this is an FDA-approved drug, unlike others who, they have to go through a whole big process. And the former director of the FDA, Rick Bright, he's a PhD, submitted to an approval for the hospital at 11:30 p.m. on March 28th, 2020. Dr. Hahn's approval was granted a little after midnight, March 29th, 2020. Approval in about 30 minutes. But now we've been waiting almost 30 days for Dr. Hahn to approve of the Henry Ford EUA application for outpatient use. Now, I'm going to get to what I think it is, and I'm going to go right to it, Jesse. Okay. And this is Dr. Anthony Fauci, who's been working with the NIH at the time, has known for the last 15 to 18 years that chloroquine and hydrochloroquines are effective against SARS-CoV-1, which shares 79% of the vital genome with SARS with COVID-2, the cause of the COVID-19 disease. Now, here's the bottom line, and I'm going to just say it, Jesse. The good Dr. Anthony Fauci, he is going to make lots of money on a vaccine. See, and if we come up with a solution before they come up with a vaccine, guess what, Jess? Those sales are never going to be made. And so I'm going to make my assessment by saying the reason that they're wanting this to not get approved is because we want to have this crisis for a number of reasons. Money and also political process with the Trump administration. They're trying to make it so that the economy and the crisis so that he will not be elected. Those are two areas that I'll stand by, financial and political. It's because they're going to lose a lot of money. Why would they want a cheap medicine to take care of a problem when they can charge you a lot of money? That's my take, Jess.
Yep, the generic hydroxychloroquine, the total treatment is about $25 to $30 cash for 5 to 7 days to use in COVID-19, and it's highly effective.
Yep.
There's no money to be made,
That's
Terry,
it.
by hydroxychloroquine. This is why Dr. Fauci and others, they don't want to approve this and stuff because it's already readily available. In fact, they have all these hydroxychloroquine, gallons that are just basically rotting in warehouses.
Yeah.
They don't want to use them. They want to invent something that's not as good because Fauci and Bill Gates and others stand to make a lot of money. And look what the article said. This is the bomb right here. I have to repeat it again. What Terry said, it's that good. The article says, "Let this sink in." Laboratory studies published by the National Institute of Health 15 years ago showed potent antiviral effects of chloroquine against SARS-CoV-1 to block the infection at the earliest stage. Dr. Anthony Fauci, who was working at NIH at that time, has to have known for the last 15 to 18 years that chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine are effective against SARS-CoV-1, which shares 79% of the viral genome with SARS-CoV-2, which is, drumroll, the cause of COVID-19 disease.
Yep.
It is appalling that so many Americans continue to die while Dr. Fauci, who's the head of the FDA, has dawdled on approving HCQ for an urgent new use in this pandemic. And Dr. Hahn, again, the commissioner of the FDA, he knows full well the 65-year track record of safety worldwide in patients of all ages, all ethnic groups, and even pregnant women and nursing mothers. Doctors who are treating COVID-19 patients see lives being saved by this cheap, safe, FDA-approved medicine called hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin, and doxycycline. And it's in its early stages of these medications. People are healed, Terry, within 1 to 7 days of the symptoms.
Jesse, Kaiser here in Baldwin Park in Southern California, Richard, our engineer, just tells me his friend went home with the COVID-19, and they were able to get him the hydroxychloroquine and zinc, and he's doing much better. So those who get it, and I've already talked to friends of mine who have also had the same experience, it worked for them. The real bottom line here, Jess, is it's the treatment that we're talking about is if it's done at the right time, it has a very good chance of saving lives. And why we don't want to do this, I scratch my head and say, I thought it was these doctors were for saving lives. And then, but here's my question, Jesse.
Not the liberals.
Yes, but here's my question. What are they willing to do to try and make money and also political, cooties?
Political points.
Yeah. What are they willing to do? Cause deaths from this? This is a tragic thing. Here's my point. We know that early treatment keeps infected people from spreading the virus to others. What do they say? No, we don't want this. We want you to wear a mask. You see, I think we've been duped, Jesse, and I'm just going to say it. I think it's time to tell us that the emperor has no clothes on.
Terry, speaking about masks, I mean, I feel like, what, is this Halloween every day? I mean, they're making everybody wear a mask. Yeah. There's a lot of frontline doctors that have been pleading with the FDA
That's right.
and state officials since March to open access to early treatment with hydroxychloroquine because the supply of hydroxychloroquine has been ramped up to handle its use in the early treatment of COVID. And the Strategic National Stockpile has millions of doses of hydroxychloroquine, guess what, deteriorating in government warehouses that are not being distributed because doctors are prevented from prescribing for outpatients with COVID-19. And so the FDA's misleading statements about hydroxychloroquine have led to dangerous, unprecedented restrictions on physicians' off-label prescribing rights imposed by state governors, medical boards, and pharmacy boards. A lot of my doctor friends tell me my hands are tied when I give somebody a treatment of hydroxychloroquine. I get a call from my bosses or from the company or from the pharmacy, and they're saying, "What are you doing? Stop it." And so they're coming down, Terry, on doctors that are bucking the system. Why? Because there's no money to be made on hydroxychloroquine. What they are trying to push is this new drug called remdesivir. It must be given intravenously to patients in hospital at a cost of about $3,500 a shot.
Yep.
And its serious side effects include respiratory failure, the very condition that it's supposed to treat, and it's shown limited success for COVID-19. It has shortened hospital stays by only 4 days, and it has not been clearly shown to reduce deaths. It looks like Fauci and this other Dr. Hahn, they're putting their marbles behind this remdesivir because they stand to make a lot of money, Terry.
Yeah, that's so sad. Jesse, when we come back, I want to have you tell a great good news story about a priest you and I know. And then I'm going to give Fulton Sheen, and then we're going to go to tie in this whole topic again of the COVID-19 regarding Facebook, Google, YouTube. All the social media people are also on the same page trying to stop information to get out about what we've been saying. Jesse, you know what? We've been saying this for months, okay? I mean, let's just be honest. This information was given to us months ago, and it's now getting out to the public, and I think it's going to make a huge change. And like I say, when we come back, this story about a priest friend of ours, I've worked with this priest in the 1990s with Father John Hardin, and what happened is he got accused of some mismanagement. But listen to what happened when Jesse tells the story, because this story should give you inspiration to show how this priest was just like Jesus Christ, falsely accused, and this priest took it on the chin. But you know what? Justice came out, and I'm going to tell you, when Jesse tells the story, you're going to be like, Jess, I'm glad you found that story, because we see so many priests who get accused and nothing ever comes out other than that there's no evidence of anything, but they never are able to get back into being a priest. You're listening to the Terry and Jesse Show on Virgin Most Powerful Radio. I want to also make one more comment about monthly donors here at the Virgin Most Powerful. The summer months are usually the slowest months, but if you become a monthly donor, I have 60,000 recordings from St. Joseph Communications with Jesse Romero, Scott Hahn, Tim Staples, Father Bill Casey, all the guys you want. And what I'm doing is I'm sending those to you via a download to form you in your faith. You're going to need to be well educated on your faith. And you know why? Because you need to know who Jesus is, and you need to know reasons for your faith. And that's what you get when you're a monthly donor at Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Go to our website, virginmostpowerfulradio.org, or you could do it right over the phone if you don't like computers. Call 877-526-2151. We got two evangelical Catholics with PhDs on common sense, and our common sense is coming out today on this issue of COVID-19. When we come back, wait to hear this wonderful story about a priest who was falsely accused. Wow. You're listening to the Terry and Jesse Show on Virgin Most Powerful Radio. We are too blessed to be stressed, and we're too anointed to be disappointed. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Jesse Romero from the Terry and Jesse Show, also from Jesus 911. Let's face it, we all need to use the internet, but we need screen accountability. Why? Pornography is a huge problem, especially on the internet. And every time we tap into the internet, we get bombarded with images and temptations that degrade our humanity. So we need Covenant Eyes to block these pornographic sites and advertisements from infiltrating our lives. Covenant Eyes helps us take custody of our eyes and custody of our intellect. So I recommend you go to covenanteyes.com and type in the promo code VMPR to support the network. Protect yourself and your family from the imminent threats on the internet. It's www.covenanteyes.com, code VMPR, live porn free. Thank you for listening to Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Thank you. God bless you. Keep the faith.
Jesus said in Matthew 26, "Stay awake and pray that you may not enter into temptation." According to St. Ephrem, Jesus, who feared nothing, experienced fear and asked to be freed from death, although he knew it was impossible. How much more must we persevere in prayer before temptation assails us, so that we may be freed when the test has come? May God grant that we may withstand temptation and carry out His will in all things.
This is Terry Barber. I want to thank you for your support here at Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Here's an easy way to do it. If you're going to sell or buy a house, call Real Estate for Life, 877-543-3871, because they're going to get you a Christ-centered agent to purchase your home or to sell your home. And at the close of escrow, a portion of his commission goes right back to Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Call 877-543-3871. Thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back to the Terry and Jesse Show. To join the conversation, call 888-526-2151. Now, here's Terry and Jesse.
Here's a bit of good news and was what I call instant swift justice.
I love it.
Father Edward Perone, a very holy Michigan priest who was friends with Father
John Harden.
Father John Harden. He was falsely accused by a detective of sodomy. This detective has lied. This detective's her salary should be defunded.
Yep.
Absolutely. So Maricopa County Sheriff Anthony Workersham has a horrible detective working for him. It's a female, by the way. Her name is Sergeant Detective LePage. She allegedly investigated these abuse allegations against Father Perone, and she said that she interviewed the accuser, John Doe. And guess what this detective did? This detective sergeant, okay, from the Macomb County Sheriff's Office in Detroit, Michigan. She fabricated a report that said that Father Perone had sodomized John Doe. Well, guess what? Justice was served. Father Perone has just been vindicated after a 3-person panel unanimously found this detective sergeant guilty of defamation and recommended that she pay personal damages of $125,000 to Father Perone because she lied about him. And so I guess before it went to court, they tried to settle it outside of court. They went to this 3-court panel. And so she's accepted. Sergeant Detective Nancy LePage, this disgraced cop, talk about if somebody's salary should be defunded, it's hers.
Amen.
She lost her hearing in a 3-person panel, and they found her guilty. She's got to pay this priest for lying about him. It's a defamation lawsuit, and now Father is officially vindicated of this malfeasance by this crooked cop. And not only that, she was also working in cahoots with Monsignor Bougaran and Detroit's Archbishop Vignerin, he's the second in command of the USCCB. They're also being sued separately by parishioners of Assumption Grotto in Detroit. That's where Father Perone was a longtime pastor.
Yep.
And because they know, or the implication is that they knew that this was a false suit brought on by this detective sergeant to stain the reputation of a holy Catholic priest who had been a whistleblower in Detroit, Michigan in times past.
That's right.
Of the homosexual cabal that was going on there for decades under the previous bishops. Terry?
Jesse, I had dinner with Father last December, and he couldn't tell me everything, but I had a sense of something justice was going to come out of all this. He was praying. He was obedient. And I'm elated to hear the news that the truth came out because, Jess, you and I know many priest friends of ours have gone to their death without having justice done, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is great news. Hey, Jess, we got a caller before we get on to the Facebook, Google. Let's take line 1. Let's take him. What's your name, my friend? And where are you calling from? Go ahead.
Just keep me as anonymous, please.
Okay, no problem, anonymous. What can I do for you?
I have a testimony recently. A friend of mine was sick, the flu. She had all the symptoms of COVID.
Okay.
Lost sense of taste, sense of smell, all gone.
Yeah.
Headache, fever. She was like laying in bed all week. She had no energy, no nothing. And on Sunday morning, I called her and convinced her that she's got to go to receive communion, because I believe that if she received communion, it would help her.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to convince her because she wasn't going to go. Anyway, she went to it. She ended up listening to me. She went to a church, which is celebrating outside, so they didn't do that scanner thing on the forehead. They didn't do that. She received communion, and on her way after church, she was going on her way to get to a grocery store to buy some alkaline fruit to help her with that also. Mm-hmm. As soon as she got to the grocery store, like 15 minutes later, she was already smelling food. And she, like, her senses were coming back already 15 minutes after.
Awesome.
And she's a lot better right now. She's walking, she's exercising, she's going to work. She's normal now.
Well, Anonymous.
And this was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's a great story. I appreciate you sharing that with us, brother.
Love it.
Great. Keep up the good work out there. Thanks so much for calling in.
No
good
problem.
job,
Thank
brother.
you guys.
You got it, brother. So Jesse, there's all kinds of great. God can heal people. He's still healing people daily. We just don't hear about these miracles, Jess.
Terry, one of the things that the caller just said right now that does kind of it concerns me. I don't like, Terry, walking into a restaurant or a store and having some young employee with a device on their hand, in their right hand, putting it on my forehead and like shooting a dot in my forehead. I'll tell you what that reminds me of is you close your eyes. I mean, that reminds me of like execution.
Yeah.
That's exactly what gangsters, mafia, terrorists, cartels, they look at you, they put their right hand on your forehead, they squeeze and blow your brains out. It just, to me, those are bad optics. To me, I cringe when I see that. I don't like the fact that the government's doing that.
Yeah. Putting
something on an unknown person you don't even know, Terry, is putting something on your forehead,
right,
and putting this red dot. I'm not a doctor or a scientist. I don't know what that red dot does to the infrastructure of your brain. To me, this is another horrible thing that we're all going through right now.
Amen.
I want to make that comment.
Yeah, Jess, I understand that, and I have not seen that myself. All right, we just got a note here. Caller from 9. Okay. Well, let me just do this. Let me take one more call because this is a topic, but I just want to set the stage in saying that Facebook, Google, YouTube, Twitter, they're censoring these viral videos of doctors.
Of these good doctors.
And you know what, Jesse? All these doctors are doing is trying to save life. I mean, over 17 million people have viewed this in 8 hours. And during one of the viewings...
It's called Frontline Doctors.
Frontline
Doctors. The reviews on the coronavirus. That's what the video is called.
Yeah, and 185,000 people were watching it and then just got cut off. So this is a live stream. People, this is really an abomination because the information
it's
that these doctors...
censorship, Terry. It's communist censorship.
Yeah, these doctors have something good to say about saving lives, and our social media giants don't.
But they're not getting paid by Bill Gates. That's why they can't. They're not allowing them to speak.
Yeah. Here's what
they
said.
They're not on the government dole.
Jesse, here's what they said. Why did we cut it out? Because you violated the policy of spreading misleading and potentially harmful information related to COVID-19. Really? The information that they gave saves lives, and you're making a judgment that these doctors who have been saving lives using medicines that are working it's bogus. It's not true. You know, Jesse, that just is upsetting to see something like that, brother.
Terry, and this is not made by a committee. This is one person by the name of Andy Stone. He's the Facebook spokesman.
Yeah.
He's the one that's basically saying, it's
fake.
Andy Stone is saying that the platform would direct users who had interacted with the post to information on myths debunked by the WHO. So Facebook is in cahoots with World Health Organization, the Center for Disease Control. By the way, both of them that are funded heavily by Bill Gates, heavily. And if the WHO or the CDC tells Facebook, hey, you got doctors speaking out against them, ban them. Guess what Facebook is going to do immediately? They're going to ban them. The left is all working together to censor the information about the truth about COVID-19 and hydroxychloroquine, and these are one doctor after another that are giving out this information based on their experience as doctors. And guess what? Because they're not towing the party line, the liberal narrative, they've been shut out of Facebook.
Yeah, and that's really sad. Okay, we've got a caller here in California. Give us your first name, and welcome to the Terry and Jesse Show. Go ahead, my friend. Oh.
Hey, gentlemen, it's Dr. Ed.
Dr. Ed, I didn't catch that.
Dr. Ed, what's going on, buddy?
We're all ears. I wish they would have told me that, but Dr. Ed, go ahead. I'm all ears.
So two quick things. One is very sad, and I realize it's only anecdotal evidence, but I just lost a friend of mine who I went to high school with from the Chinese virus.
Oh, no.
And I have to, so I'd like the listeners to please pray for her soul.
Yeah.
Her name was Penny.
Penny. Okay.
But this is the thing. They didn't put her on hydroxychloroquine. Instead, they put her on the remdesivir or whatever they call that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, they put her on the ventilator, and that should really be a last resort because, even President Trump talked about that.
Yep.
So, I'm just very upset about it, and I just want to back up what you guys have been saying in the program.
Yeah, it's very sad.
So they put her on remdesivir, which again, it's very expensive and has a high failure rate.
Evidently that's what happened in this particular case. So,
well, thank you.
But anyway, guys, also I wanted to let the folks know I'm going to be offering live online church history classes this fall.
Yes.
And if people want to, if you're interested in that, or for your son or daughter,
yes,
they can go to my website and leave a comment in the leave their information in the comments section. It's edmundmaza.com.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that you're doing that, Ed.
Terry, we'll start promoting this every day. We'll start making
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Hey, Dr. Ed, one more comment regarding this COVID-19 and this whole this thing that they're trying to stop information to getting out to people who just want to have information on their hands. Isn't this a way of just setting people up for a big fall? In other words, the government is coming in and these social media people are telling us what to do. That it just seems like people aren't thinking; they're just being told what to do. Isn't that pretty much what's going on right now? Whatever the common sense is, what I'm asking, Dr. Ed.
Well, you know what it is. This is classic Marxist manipulation of mind control. Mm-hmm. And if you try to think for yourself, then they block that. That's what's going on here. And we have to try to raise people's awareness to start thinking for themselves.
Hey, Dr. Ed, you're going to be on right after us on the Terry and Jesse Show on Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Up next, will Catholics return to Mass after COVID-19? Well, we're going to get into that and much more on the Terry and Jesse Show on Virgin Most Powerful Radio. As I always say, you know what? We are in life is short, eternity is forever. We'll be right back.
Genesis 1:27 says, God created man in his own image. Male and female he created them. According to Pope St. John XXIII, it is not true that some human beings are by nature superior and others inferior. All human beings are equal in their natural dignity. May God help us to look upon everyone as a person created in his image and likeness, and treat everyone the same without favoritism or prejudice.
How does the baby move in your tummy? How does the baby eat? Can the baby hear me? How did the baby get in there?
Wow, a pregnancy can sure generate a lot of questions. But what's important is that a baby is a baby, inside and out of the womb. Not just after birth, but 9 months before. at conception.
That's right. Every baby is a miracle. Hello, my name is Marianne Koharski. I'm the director of Pro-Life Across America. If you know someone who is pregnant or in need of alternatives or assistance or would like to support the work of Pro-Life Across America, please visit our website at prolifeacrossamerica.org, or better yet, simply dial pound 250 on your cell phone and say the keyword pro-life. Pro-Life Across America is non-political and totally educational.
A baby's heart is beating 18 days from conception.
Pro-Life Across America, the Billboard people.
This is Terry Barber. I want to thank you for your support here at Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Here's an easy way to do it. If you're going to sell or buy a house, call Real Estate for Life, 877-543-3871, because they're going to get you a Christ-centered agent to purchase your home or to sell your home. And at the close of escrow, a portion of his commission goes right back to Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Call 877-543-3871. Thank you so much for your support.
Welcome back to the Terry and Jesse Show. To join the conversation, call 888-526-2151. Now, here's Terry and Jesse.
Well, Catholics return to Mass after COVID-19. They're surprising data from a Catholic priest. But going back to what Dr. Ed Mazza said in the last segment,
sure,
I understand, Terry, why a lot of Catholics, for them, the government is the magisterium, and the sacraments are safe distancing, wash your hands 20 times a day, mask, face shield, lock yourself in the house. I'll tell you why, because St. Paul told us 2,000 years ago what would happen and how we're supposed to fight this. He says it in Romans 12:2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that you may prove what is the will of God, what is good, acceptable, and perfect. And so what does the world tell you? The world gives you bad news. The world doesn't have a view of eternity, of the afterlife, of death, judgment, heaven, and hell. The world wants to give you pleasure, power, popularity. And a lot of Catholics, again, the magisterium for them is the government. Put on a mask, put on a face shield, 6 feet apart, don't go to school, lock it down, wash your hands. All these governmental mandates to try to build this perfect world, this utopia. But St. Paul says, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. So what is the renewal of your mind? St. Paul says, what is the will of God? What is the will of God? To be good, acceptable, perfect, and holy. Okay?
Amen.
The fact is, as Catholics, what makes us holy? Not going to Mass or going to Mass. What makes us holy? The sacrament of washing my hands, or the 7 sacraments of the church? What makes me holy? Prayer or watching pornography all day because I'm locked down at home? Again, everything the government is telling us to do right now leads people to sin. Why do I say that? Increase in pornography usage, increase in alcohol consumption, increase in drug consumption, increase in domestic violence. This is what happens when you're guilty of sloth, of doing nothing, of being a malingerer all day and listening to the government magisterium. But what does God want us to do? God wants us to become holy and do what is good and acceptable, which leads us on to our next topic, Terry.
Absolutely. Jesse, you nailed it. Yeah, will Catholics return to Mass after COVID-19? Jess, I want to get your take on this article. And also, Jesse, I have a lot of experience now being at the chapel here for 5 months, where parishes have closed and people are flocking to the chapel here for confession, for baptisms. We had confirmation over the weekend. We're not letting it get in the way, COVID-19, but many parishes are just saying, hey, it's all visual. It's all going to be online. Don't even come up to the church now. Don't go on the property. So, Jess, what's your take? Do you think that Catholics are going to return?
Here are the people that are going to return.
Okay.
Before the COVID-19 outbreak, there was about 18 to 21% of Catholics in the U.S. practicing their faith, going to Holy Mass on Sunday.
Yeah.
I believe now, as a result of that, even within those 18 to 21%, only about 35% of those, 35 to 50% of those, believe in the real presence of Christ.
That's true.
So if you really talk about the people that believe that that's God in the Eucharist, that's probably about 10 to 13%. Those are the ones that are going to return, Terry.
Yep.
The other 50% of those Catholics that were already going to Mass on Sundays that don't believe in the real presence, there's no way they're going to show up, Terry, and go jump through all the hoops. You got to sign in online to go to Mass, 6 feet apart from next family, every other bench, wear a mask. There's no way. The ones that don't believe that that's Christ, there's no way they're going to come back. They're gone. We lost them.
Hey.
The ones that are going to come back are the 10%ers.
That's right.
About 10% of the Catholics, objectively speaking, in the United States, believe that when the priest says the words of consecration and puts his hands over the bread and wine, that becomes a second person of the Trinity. Those will come back to Mass until the day they drop dead because they have found the pearl of great price.
That's right.
But the other 50% of those that were going to Mass before COVID-19 that don't believe in the real presence, they're gone, Terry. We lost them.
I totally agree with that point, Jesse, and I think of what St. Augustine said. He said, to fall in love with God is the greatest of romances, to seek him the greatest adventure, to find him the greatest human achievement. If we have lukewarm Catholics in the church, why would they come back for a symbol, Jess? They wouldn't. And here's the other thought. Jesse, you worked out at a gym. I think you even ran a gym for boxing. Yep. People would come every couple days or every day to go work out, right?
Every day.
Okay.
Every day.
Yeah. Now, when you stop going to work out, how hard is it to get back into working out again a second time?
It's easier to get out of shape than it is to get in shape.
So there you go. I apply that to the principle of having a habit, a holy habit, to receive the sacraments. You know how many people have told me that are good Catholics, Jesse? They said, I haven't been to confession in 5 months. Why? Well, I used to go to Saint such and such, and they don't have them anymore, and I haven't made the effort to go. I said, well, get over here. We hear of confessions at 3 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. You know, get in the box. You got to make the effort. So what I'm trying to say, Jesse, is when the sacraments are not available as easily as it was before, a lot of us aren't just making the effort. And so my take on this is we're going to probably have about less than 10% of the baptized Catholics practicing their faith in America.
Yeah, that's again, about 10% of actually baptized Catholics will continue to go to Mass, even if Russia descends on us with, fighter pilots and China attacks us. 10% of Catholics they'll go to a cave to Mass because once you know that that's Jesus, there's nowhere else to go in the Eucharist, and there's nothing that'll stop you from going there, no matter if you have to meet, in somebody's bunker. But again, 90% of the Catholics in this country, once again, before this COVID-19 outbreak, 80% of Catholics in the U.S., they're not going to Mass, baptized Catholics.
Right.
But the 20% that are going, the 20% that were going before, only half of those believe in the real presence. Remember that. Only half of them, of the ones that were going before COVID-19. So if you want to see the ones that are going to continue to go, it's about 10% of Catholics that actually believe that that's Christ in the Eucharist. Right. They will continue to go until somebody puts a bullet in their head and kills them. Nothing's going to stop them from going because they're sold out to Jesus and the Catholic Church. Come with me.
Jesse, I'll give you an example. I've been getting ready for the bishop coming for confirmation this weekend. So I was in line at a grocery store, and I said to the person in front of me, is this the end of the line? And they said, yes. And I said, oh, great, thank you. They said, are you Terry Barber on Virgin Most Powerful Radio? I said, yes. And they said, oh, we're looking for a parish that we can receive Holy Communion kneeling down and on the tongue and without having to register or having sit in our cars. We want to go to church. So we invited them. They came, and on Sunday they found their other relatives have a little baby to baptize, so obviously they're going to have that baby baptized. But you see, Jess, people are striving to come back, but unless we don't invite them, and I don't see the invitation right now. I see like parishes saying, look, you got to do it, but under these conditions. And if you don't like it, too bad. Well, you know what most people are going to say, Jess? Okay, I'll find somewhere else. I have a friend, convert to the Catholic faith. He came from Calvary Chapel. Well, when he was told he couldn't go to church in his diocese because he's over 65, he started going to a Protestant church. Yeah. So I invited him. Hey, dude, the Eucharist. Oh, yeah, but I want to receive the Eucharist. Well, then you can't get it there. Only here in the Catholic Church. Jesse, these are just a few stories I've had in the last couple months of people not going to church and going, well, I'll find some other church. This is why it's
Ruben
sad.
told me the same thing. He knows tons of people that are going to Protestant churches right now because a lot of them, they're not making you sign up online. Yep. There's no every other pew, no masks. Yep. And so they're going, hey, at least I can hear the word of God again. But they're not, like you said, they're not receiving the body, blood of Christ.
And that's what I think is the challenge. And so I want to ask everybody, remember Our Lady of Fatima said, pray for souls that are going to hell. Why? Because no one is there to pray and make sacrifices. Come to our chapel, make visits to the Blessed Sacrament. Come to Holy Mass. Come and get the sacrament of confession. Because I'm going to tell you, Jess, St. Augustine said it well. He said, if you pray well, you'll live well. If you live well, you'll die well. If you die well, all will be well. And that's what we're here, helping you die well. Did you hear that, Jess? We're helping people die well. That doesn't mean that you die at age 106. No, dying well means you die in the state of grace.
That's right. And let's not forget that our general purpose in life is to become holy and get to heaven. Yep. That's our general purpose. What's your specific purpose in life? That's your state of life. That's your vocation. You're supposed to become holy within your state of life, your vocation. But unfortunately, many Catholics have they don't think, Terry, with their intellect. Like, for example, when it comes to voting, liberal Catholics, they think with their emotions. I don't like President Trump. I don't like the way he talks. Joe Biden's a Catholic. They think with their emotions, not with their intellect. Same thing with the COVID-19. Put on a mask. You're going to kill me. Get away from me. Don't shake my hand. What are they thinking with? Their emotions, their passions, not their intellect. And that's the problem, Terry.
Yeah, you got
Catholics are supposed to think and be guided by their Christ-formed intellect, because then your intellect masters your passions and you know how to vote, and you don't turn into a Kevin or Karen and yell at fellow people because they're not wearing a mask. Let us learn to think with our Christ-formed intellect, and let us learn to master our passions, Terry.
Jesse, you just said exactly what a bishop said in another way. He said, Bishop Robert Barron said, it's a sign of a corrupt church that stops thinking deeply about the truths of Christianity, which we have right now. A church that is against being precise about its teaching. Here's what the bishop said. Jesse, I didn't say it. He said, a church that is against being precise about its teaching is a corrupt church. And I'll just be honest with you right now, Jess. We need a cleaning of the house, okay, of whether it comes from the McCarrick issue and doctrinal things. We need to be cleaned because we have people in our church that we need to pray for them in our leadership, that they will stop the ambiguity teachings because it drives people away. We need to be straight, and what we say here is what? We say clarity with charity. Jesse, what are those?
One of the ambiguous teachings is, let's not forget, and it doesn't matter who you hear it from, Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life to heaven. That's right. He's not the preferred way. Nope. He's the only way to heaven. So that's one of the clear teachings we need to say over and over again.
Say it again,
whether you're a lay Catholic or a bishop.
That's so clear. Jesse, what state should we be living in, brother?
Not in the state of disgrace, not in the state of mortal sin,
or
not
the
in the
deep state. Yeah.
Not in the state of confusion either.
No.
In the state of grace, sanctifying grace. And as Catholics, let's make sure that life is like a baseball game. Make sure that before you die, you leave it all on the field. Terry?
Amen. Up next, Dr. Ed Mazza, the Bar of History on Virgin Most Powerful. Don't forget, you can hear all these shows on our social media by going to our app or our website at virginmostpowerfulradio.org. Like us on social media. That's how we spread the faith. May God richly bless you, and full sheen ahead.
Saint Faustina's Prayer for Priests. O my Jesus, I beg thee on behalf of the whole Church, grant it love and the light of thy Spirit, and give power to the words of priests, so that hardened hearts might be brought to repentance and return to thee, O Lord. Lord, give us holy priests. Thou thyself maintain them in holiness. O divine and great High Priest, may the power of thy mercy accompany them everywhere, and protect them from the devil's traps and snares, which are continually being set for the souls of priests. May the power of thy mercy, O Lord, shatter and bring to naught all that might tarnish the sanctity of priests. For thou canst do all things. Amen. Virgin most powerful, pray for us.